In today's news, data needed to justify decisions made in standing finance, says Smith. Flax-Charles calls for cruise ship passengers to pay environmental levy. Adina Donovan home to get wish list items courtesy of Drake's Traders. And Penn speaks on elderly protection at regional conference. Well, viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right. That's out.
That's 6.
That's out.
With worldwide medical coverage and affordable premiums, we're like a home match that isn't played at your actual home. CG Insurance. Good like that.
My turn. Oh, come on, guys.
Well, welcome viewers to the Thursday, December 22nd edition of 284 News. I am Kamal Haynes, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. Well, leading today's news, Deputy Speaker and Territorial at-Large Representative Honorable Neville Smith believes that the government needs to start operating off of data to justify the decisions made when conducting the annual Standing Finance Committee meetings. Well, Smith made a plea during the 2023 budget debate recently in the House of Assembly, warning that if the previous practice continues of approving monies to departments with the relevant data, governments will continue to lose needed resources.
What I want to propose that we need to start doing, Madam Speaker, is we need to work off of data, information. We cannot go in there, sit down, just listen to somebody come and tell me, I need a new vehicle because the truck broke down. We need to start having information explained to us how you arrive at this. How the vehicle broke down. What were you doing in the vehicle? What is the vehicle used for? Madam Speaker, we have to find ways that to show that, hey, look, this is a program we have put in place that could show us this is what we made in 2016. Here's where we done fall in 2017. Here's where we could get back up in 2008. Data can show you this information, Madam Speaker. If we don't have data, we don't have information, we cannot continue going on the road that we're doing, making decisions. And that's one, I think that's one for the 4 or 5 years ahead, and I've been in the budget for 5 times. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Smith also provided an example to further argue his point.
We come to Standing Finance and somebody come and give us a statement of what they did for the year and what they want to make, or what they want to do, how much money they need. But there's nothing there showing me how they arrive at this. There's nothing. There's nothing showing me, well, this is what I could do to save government $20 million. Or what new initiative I have to make government $20 million. There's nothing there. So how can we continue coming to this honorable house with a budget that we don't have data to show where we arrive at this?
He said if data is indeed available, the relevant finance departments should disclose that valuable information to the elected officials at the standing finance meetings.
Now, if finance have that data, they have to show it to me. But my thing is, if finance have it, why is not shared with us when we're making decisions in standing finance? Because we're making decisions blindly. That's how I look at it. If I have the data in front of me and I could discuss with the department that comes in front of me what data they have, we could have a discussion. I consider that to be a proper discussion. But if I don't have nothing in front of me to discuss, when you come and tell me, well, I need this because this is what I need. What's telling me, what's showing me that that's what happened? We have to change the way we do things here. We cannot continue doing the same thing for years and years and years, and we're not getting good results out of it. To me, that's what I'm seeing here. I'm saying that we need to change the process of standard finance.
Well, Smith also addressed the issue of informal meetings in standing finance, a practice he says needs to stop.
I see my honorable members come in, and I said it before, and I say it again. We cannot continue to come to standard finance and having informal meetings. Because I consider that's what we have in standard finance, informal meetings, things that we should be discussing outside of standard finance, we discussing in standard finance. When we come to standard finance, we should be discussing figures. If we have an issue with a department, we should try to meet this department before we have standard finance. If we continue going on this road, we can end up like what we end up here today. That's why we're here today so late. That's the reason why we're here. Because we still have to turn around, and I must take my hat off to the staff of the House of Assembly. Sleepless night trying to get this document together. But a lot of stuff that's inside here shouldn't be here. It should not be here. Some of my members might be upset with what I'm saying, but I ain't playing no politics here. So this ain't politics, this ain't trying to get no vote. This is about we need to correct what's going on in the House of Assembly. We need to correct what's going on here to get the best out of what we're supposed to do.
Well, moving on, viewers, Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development, Flax-Charles, believes that it is high time that the BVI consider adding cruise ship passengers to the list of personnel required to pay an environmental levy upon arrival in the territory.
I am going to say it here that during standing finance, I spoke about the environmental levy. And cruise passengers do not pay the environmental levy. Why is that, Mr. Speaker? I know there are talks of bought-in agreements and the like, but that is something that we as a territory need to start looking at.
Well, Flax-Charles went on to make it clear that her statements are in no way to indicate any discontent with cruise ship passengers or that area of tourism, but instead to place emphasis on the environmental impact that cruise ship tourism has on the territory.
The cruise passenger, we welcome them, we love to have them, but they need to pay their fair share. The environmental impact, Mr. Speaker, from the cruise passenger is the greatest it has the greatest impact on our environment. And I don't want anybody to take it out of context. I don't have an issue with cruise passengers. But if the land-based and the charter yachts pay that environmental levy when those passengers come in to hop on board those yachts or go into the hotels and villas, we need to take a closer look.
The junior minister insisted that the visitors coming in by this means would have no issue paying up to help in maintaining nature's little secret.
We need revenue, Mr. Speaker, and that is a way for us to get additional revenue into the coffers. We're not going to nickel and dime persons, but the average American tourist has no issue whatsoever paying to assist in maintaining nature's little secrets. And yes, I said it because we're still nature's little secrets. And they have no problem with doing that.
All viewers, the environmental levy paid by incoming visitors at airports and ferry terminals is used to fund programs having to do with climate change and environmental protection in the territory. Well, up next, the Adina Donovan home to get wish list items courtesy of Drake's Traders, and Penn speaks on elderly protection at regional conference. But these and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Freeze. Choose your mix, choose your flavor.
Good job there, brother. All I'm surprised you're here.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Charles, it's been 60 years.
I wish it was 60 more.
Let it go.
No, you know what you did.
It was just ice cream. But you know what? It was delicious.
What?
We're like a family get-together without all the family drama.
What you gonna do?
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, the managers at the Adina Donovan home for the elderly will be able to check items off the residential homes wish list thanks to a seasonal donation received from Drake's Traders Limited. Well, a gift of $2,500 was presented by the Drake's Traders team to the home manager, Mrs. Ritzia Turnbull Smith, and assistant manager, Miss Tiffany George, who were at the hardware and home goods store in Fish Bay on December 13th. For more on this story.
The managers at the Adina Donovan home for the elderly will be able to check items off the residential homes wish list thanks to the seasonal donation received from Drake's Traders Limited. A gift of $2,500 was presented by the Drake's Traders team to the home manager, Mrs. Ritzia Turnbull Smith, and assistant manager, Miss Tiffany George, who were at the hardware and home goods store in Fish Bay on December 13th. The donation will be used to acquire items needed for the home throughout the year. We have 22 residents at the moment, and as with the management of any household, we constantly need to restock or replace home goods for the smooth running of the facility, Mrs. Turnbull Smith said. We gratefully accept this gift, which we will use to help us continue to provide our caregiving services without compromising the availability of materials or equipment that we use on a daily basis. The Adina Donovan home, located on Main Street in Road Town, has enjoyed gifts from Drake's Traders for a few years now. We know from previous conversations with Mrs. Turnbull Smith that many of the residents don't have the inbuilt support network to make sure they have everything they need, Mr. Christian Esser said, Managing Director of Drake's Traders. We are pleased to be able to offer some assistance to make the process of caring easier and smoother, especially at this time of year, and we wish the residents and staff all the best and a very Merry Christmas. Mrs. Turnbull Smith expanded on the services of the Adina Donovan home beyond caregiving. In an effort to provide a rounded experience for its elderly residents, the home also offers a program of activities to ensure they remain active and engaged, and the managers work with individuals and groups to meet its commitment. Whether it's reading sessions and conversations or general entertainment such as musical presentation or exercise, the benefits of social interaction can't be underestimated, Mrs. Turnbull Smith said. While we have a roster of fixed activities and staying abreast of trends of COVID and other infectious diseases in our community, a limited number of immediate family, close friends, or social groups who are able to spend time with our residents are always welcome. If there are any private sector entities looking for a cause to support, I ask they consider supporting the Adina Donovan home in whatever way they can, Mrs. Turnbull Smith said. Mrs. Turnbull Smith can be contacted at 284-468-2345. Reporting for 284 News, Ron Grant.
Moving on, viewers, where Minister for Health and Social Development Honorable Maarten Penn recently represented the territory at the 5th Regional Intergovernmental Conference on Aging and the Rights of Older Persons in Latin America and the Caribbean. Penn noted his participation as an opportunity to share the Virgin Islands' perspective on the topic protection of the human rights of older persons in situations of social and environmental disasters.
Vulnerability is a human dimension of disasters, and many older people are especially vulnerable because of the decreased mobility, chronic health conditions, and lack of social support. This makes it harder for them to maintain their homes, prepare for a potential disaster, receive and act on early warnings, and evacuate or otherwise protect themselves. The Caribbean has the fastest aging population in the development world. According to the Pan American Health Organization, population aging combined with climate change and a growing number of intensity of disasters creates special challenges for a region.
Reflecting on the impacts of the 2017 hurricane season, Penn noted that elderly people were one of the most affected by the widespread devastation which unfolded.
The lives and well-being of older people were severely affected by the widespread devastation, especially those who were displaced from their homes. Disruptions to healthcare and social services, transportation and communication, utilities and food supply, along with the psychological impacts, were also far-reaching and long-lasting. Although only 4 persons died during the passage of Hurricane Irma, it's not surprising that we recorded a spike in the number of deaths in the following months, mainly among older persons.
Protecting the elderly, he said, is central to the Virgin Islands government's response in areas such as social protection, housing, health and nutrition, and psychosocial support. Well, he also provided a glimpse into the key takeaways that the government had identified from responding to the 2017 hurricanes.
It is imperative that countries find ways to support older persons' resilience, preparedness, and recovery from disasters. This approach needs to be built into government-led comprehensive disaster management strategies, underpinned by a shock-responsive social protection system. Governments and its social partners need to work together to, 1, strengthen institutional capacity to mainstream and respond to the needs of older persons in emergency or disaster situations. 2, support representation of older persons and disaster management teams at the community level. 3, encourage NGOs to assist with safeguarding the well-being, including evacuation of older people in times of disaster. 4, minimize disruption to the health and social services on which older people rely. 5, design shelters that are accessible for older persons. 6, create contact systems to enable checks on the well-being of older adults. 7, use community mapping data to identify areas where many old adults live. 8, bolster social support across individuals, families, and communities at large. And 9, provide financial resources for older adults who do not have the funds to manage pre- and post-disaster expenses.
Penn told the conference that the Virgin Islands' response to the 2017 disasters was a testament to what can be delivered to meet the needs of elderly persons if social protection is properly sourced. He also renewed the government's commitment to support strengthened disaster risk management and social protection systems. Our viewers, up next, Lettsome addresses need for young leaders. CRC responds to Dutch apology for slavery, and St. Maarten catamaran crew happy to be back home after BVI ordeal. But these stories in 24 News return.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on Popular.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
son.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man, forget that.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up power?
Well, welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Well, in a recent episode of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, guest Kevin Lettsome addressed claims that the country does not need to elect young people at this time due to possible lack of experience.
Being young, or being one of the younger professionals, there are many who have said, and unfortunately still believe that, especially at this juncture, critical, crucial part in our nation's history, there are some who believe that the young people shouldn't necessarily be the ones charting the course. Some feel as though the lack of experience in young people is not needed at this time. What do you say to the persons who, not only in the political arena, but since that's the line of a conversation right now, what do you say to the persons who feel as though young people like yourself, of our age demographic, should not necessarily or are not able to take up leadership roles in politics at this time? Because it has been said.
What I'll say to that, rather, and I just mentioned the COI. The COI have changed a lot of things, and the framework that our unity government sent to the United Kingdom, which the United Kingdom accepted, have changed a lot of things in our country. And I believe that young people at this time have something to offer. We have the ability to do it. And if we have changed a lot of things, move around a lot of things, and still are working on passing a lot of legislations to shape our way into good governance, all of us, experienced and inexperienced person, has to learn the new systems together. So I would say that is false. However, I believe that we need a mixture of both in our next House of Assembly. And where I see myself fitting in that particular path of that puzzle is that you're going to need persons to advocate for national issues. You're going to need persons who are going to advocate for district issues. You're going to need person who's going to need to advocate for territory-wide issues. So you need the right balance. And I would also look at it as succession planning. When, I like to use Dr. Pickering as a great example and Maarten. When they first went into office, they didn't become a minister just like that. They served consecutive terms, they learned the system, they understood the system, and they eventually see it fit that they should seek higher office, a higher, more responsibility. And I am a firm believer if you don't give someone the opportunity, they will never gain the experience. So, again, if you don't give someone the opportunity, they will never gain the experience. I'm a believer of that, right?
Well, Lettsome, who was also a contractor on the recently completed Elmore Stout High School project, spoke about that experience and what it meant to contribute in such a way.
My construction company is a subsidiary of the company that we partnered with, which is Sunleaf Construction. and my company is Virgin Islands Construction. Both of us work hand in hand. For this venture, we use Sunleaf Construction, where we did a joint venture with Northern Construction. And I have to mention that because it's very important. All of my colleagues in that joint venture, we attended that school.
Good.
And for us to be given the opportunity to be able to chart the direction in terms of construction and bringing a home to demolish the system in our country, it's something that is dear to our heart, and it's like a dream come true for all of us. I can say that proudly for all of my colleagues. It's like a dream.
Our viewers, to view that full interview with Kevon Shaq Lettsome, along with all other episodes of that season, visit all 24 media platforms. Well, moving on, viewers, to some regional news, where the CARICOM Reparations Commission, also referred to as CRC, says while it welcomes the apology from the Dutch for African enslavement, it believes that the words spoken by Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte need to be taken into action. With this past Monday, Rutte issued an apology on behalf of the Kingdom of the Netherlands for its historic role in the slave trade, stating that slavery needs to be noted in the clearest terms as a crime against humanity. But slavery is a past which he recognized and acknowledged as one that cannot be erased and only faced up to, as he admitted that the Dutch had enabled, encouraged, and profited from slavery. But the CRC said in its statement that it welcomes the apology, which was long overdue, to the victims of the transatlantic slave trade, chattel slavery in the Caribbean, and their descendants. However, the CRC noted that the Prime Minister's statement did not include a commitment nor a signal of his government's intention to enter into reparations negotiations with CARICOM, Africa, and the indigenous Caribbean communities who suffered genocide and enslavement at the hands of the Dutch state and its agents for over 300 years. To this end, the CRC says it is keen to engage with the Dutch government on the next steps that are needed to arrive at a mutually satisfactory outcome. Well, slavery was abolished in all Dutch overseas territories on July 1st, 1863, but it took over a decade to truly end it in the CARICOM state of Suriname because of a mandatory 10-year transition period, making the Netherlands one of the last countries to outlaw slavery. But the CRC, in collaboration with the Center of Reparations Research at the University of the West Indies, will host a virtual media engagement this week to address the Netherlands' apology. Well, moving on to our final story, viewers, where a St. Maarten catamaran crew is now safely back in their homeland after being released by BVI authorities following charges of landing in the territory without leave of an immigration officer and allowing persons to land without leave of an immigration officer. Well, this is according to the Daily Herald newspaper in St. Maarten, which reported the arrival of the crew of the charter catamaran Mojito last weekend following the payment of a $12,000 fine. As stated in the article, the crew alleged that they had unsuspectingly taken on board a group of 7 Romanian migrants who had booked and paid for a 4-day charter in the BVI through an online booking platform. But they claimed that after arriving in Tortola around 1 a.m. on December 6th, the Romanian group pressured their captain, Charlie Vaughan Swinton, to dock the catamaran under the false assumption that a pregnant woman was extremely ill. But the captain claimed that he radioed called for medical assistance, but said all calls were unanswered. But after docking the vessel, the Romanians escaped but were arrested on the neighboring United States Virgin Islands of St. Thomas the next day and charged with illegal entry into the USA. One of the Romanians, according to the USVI News report, was wanted for murder. Following the detainment, viewers, by BVI authorities of Captain Swinton and hostess Lily Alexandre, the two were initially held on suspicion of human trafficking and crossing borders illegally, but those charges were not pursued. Well, viewers, that's all we have for today's newscast. I'm Kamal Haynes. Hope you enjoyed the content. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Bye-bye.